appreciate you coming by and doing the show.
I've been wondering why you haven't been asking.
Well, actually I have, but you've been gone.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a real special show for me. Sit around and visit with you and Jesse in the control room and talk about everything. Today we're going to solve every problem that the music industry ever had. I figure between you and I we can do it.
You got it. Or we can create more problems than they can ever get out of.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll go back to the early 60s when we first met out in Phoenix. You were working at JD's and I was floating around everywhere. What was the name of that? Was it Magoo's?
Magoo's, yeah.
Where
We played, yeah.
I was playing at Magoo's and you was playing at JD's.
It was actually owned by the same people, you know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, he didn't want you to know that right there.
Well, you were making more money than I was. I couldn't figure out why. If I'd have known, I'd say, pay me as much as you pay him Waylon.
I tell you, I had made there and didn't know it, you know. I can still live on that, I think. When I would run into to Willie one time, and I said, Willie, they didn't want me to move to Nashville. And so he said, don't do it. So sure enough, I took his advice and I moved to Nashville.
It was a lot of fun, you know. I miss that. I miss being able to get up on stage and sing songs that are new songs, you know, that are favorites of mine that I've heard on the radio or something. I miss being able to sing those old Bob Dylan songs.
Yeah, I do too. You know, like you get locked into your records, you know.
Well, you've got to. Somebody paying you a whole lot of money. They expect you to do Luke and Bob, Texas, and Detroit City.
Yeah, I've had that, yeah. I finally got to where I figured out how to do those songs, though. You know, when you get one that you get tired of, what you do is you just kind of slip it in on yourself. You don't do it in the same place every night. It's a surprise.
Surprise yourself with it.
Yeah, that's it.
Did you ever record a song that you didn't like?
Yeah, I did. And I love old Chip's Moment and everything. But wasn't it a surprise? I don't know what I don't know what come over me. You know, I told Richie one night I was singing that on stage, and I turned around to him, and Richie Albright was the drummer, and I said, Richie, could you do me one favor? I said, before I ever release a song as a single again, tell me that I've got to sing that song for the rest of my life. Because you got to live with them, you know. I kind of eliminated that one out of the repertoire, or whatever you call it.
I was always afraid to record a song I didn't like, for that very same reason.
Well, I wised up after that.
You got to live with it.
You better believe it. You know, like they say, well, you wrote it. They don't make no good. I don't make no difference. I don't like it. It ain't no good.
I get tired of a lot of songs that I write. I get tired of them before I ever get to record it. Before I ever get them finished. I get tired of them during the first bridge.
Well, you know what I do? That's the reason when I go to record, I very seldom know the song, you know, because I do get tired of it quick, you know, and I'll start messing with the very thing that I liked about it the best. You know, if I get in there and I know it, and we have to keep going and over, after a while I'll start messing with the melody or something, out of pure boredom.
You've written some really good songs. Some of the first ones that you wrote, well, I recorded some of the songs that you wrote back in the early 60s, because I was really, and still am, probably your biggest fan.
Well, you helped me a lot, too. I don't know if people know you're the one who brought me here or not. And, well, I mean, you're the one. Yeah, you brought me here. You brought me to Chet's attention, you know. And when you was recording Man Across the Sorrow and Just Satisfy You.
Yeah, and you played on some of my, you played on Streets of Baltimore and a lot of those albums. In fact, we did a duet on Memphis that was way back before anybody was doing duets. It came out in an album. I thought it was great.
I did too, and Chet, I don't know why he didn't release that. Let's release it now. He's gone.
Put it out.
There you go.
Why is he don't like to do TV?
I don't know. I've never been really happy with the way I came off on TV. You know, it's such a controlled atmosphere. It's well, you remember back when Roger Miller did TV years ago. And, You know, it's a dangerous, it's a great medium. You can reach more people, you know, like in one show than you can reach in a year doing concerts, you know. But it's just according if you want to reach them or not. I may be doing more now, you know. I'm getting to be an old pro. I've done 3 lately, so.
A lot of times, you know, when we first starting out, network television didn't really know what to do with the country pickers. You know, because if you didn't dance or sing Broadway show tunes or some of the old pop standards, they didn't know what to do with him back in Nashville.
They're still not really. They have, you know, like the Nashville, like the shows and things like that. Unless you're doing a video, you know, to where they can cut out and cut in. And I think the cameramen have been better, you know. It's the best thing that's happened, you know, is in the cameramen. They've learned how to isolate things, you know. And I tell you what, I think they worry too much about, and I think TV worries too much about it now too. Is like on a special or on a television thing, they worry too much about getting the star's face on the up there too much. There's a lot happens around, you know, around the background, and you know, like there's guys back there that's equipment people. I got some of the greatest showmen and equipment people you've ever seen in your life. They're sitting back up boogieing, man. I mean, while the music's going on, you know.
There's a lot of energy going on around
You can capture that too.
If television can capture energy as well as the recording people have figured out how to do it, it'd be great. You know, because there's a lot of energy in your music.
Yeah, it goes all the way through it. In fact, I did an ABC special, and I tried to talk to those people, and I didn't get it through to them. You know, I told them, I said, if you just get everything that's happening, then you'll get me. You can't help but get me, you know. But I said, I just don't do that much standing out there in front. You know, my song and dance don't last very long, you know, and I don't care anything about that camera being on me all that much.
And no matter how many close-ups they get in your face,
that's it.
What angle, that's all they're going to see anyway. But they don't know where else to go.
I think they have fun looking for. He's bound to have a good side somewhere. You know? Maybe that's what it is.
You know, several years back, you kind of fell back and regrouped. Almost went out of business. Almost quit.
Yep. I did, yeah.
What happened to discourage you and disenchant you in business?
Well, it was a business, you know, like a corporate thing, you know, and no, you had no control, you know, of what you were doing. I've never been one to believe that I had to have control of everything. I think if you get control, you should know where to give it, you know, give it back, you know, like, and if you got a good producer, he should have control of things, you know, and but I just kept trying, you know, like, and I've been going from one producer to another, and like, and I was on a merry-go-round, and I mean, like, where you couldn't get off, you know. You know, there wasn't no increase in the salary or anything like that. I mean, it was just, I was about $700,000-800,000 in debt, and I thought maybe I was in the wrong business or something. But Richie Albright came to me then and said, let's give it one more run. And so we made one more run at it. Then we ran up to the point where I went broke, which
you went broke on a higher scale.
Very high scale. I didn't lose anything. I just didn't have no money. You know, he said, and the guy that was running things then came out to the house and he says, Ronald, he says, well, Waylon Jennings is broke. And I said, is that right? And he said, yeah. And he said, you do understand what I'm saying, and that made me mad. I said, wait a minute now. I said, don't you be patronizing me. He said, I don't know if you know or not, but you surely heard I really don't give a damn, you know. But I just been talking to Tony Joe White about 2 days before that. I said, sometime, Tony, I wish I could start over at home, and I got my wish. That's about what it amounted to. So don't ever go around Tony Joe wishing something unless you're really sure about it.
Well, we're all glad that you didn't quit, because if you had, there would have been a gap so big in our American music that you could drive a truck through it and a train at the same time. We've seen a lot of changes in the type of music that we do. In fact, it's all music. But basically, we've seen a lot of changes in country music. Now, what changes have you seen that are really big changes?
I think the best change, not much as much a change, it's expanded. You know, like there was a time when if you used a horn, man, you was in trouble. You know, that ain't country. You know, and or if you use, you know, like too many strings or something. But I've always felt that we had the right to use just as many instruments as somebody else. You know, they use ours. You know, and if you want to get basically down to it, when you know, like they say, well, you got to keep it country. If you're gonna keep it country, you can't use a guitar pick because that's an amplification of a sort. But anyway, you know, like I think that it's grown up in a lot of ways. I really do, and I'm glad to see it.
When you listen to the radio, how do you feel about the sameness of the records? You know, like the radio stations, what they're playing, what everybody's listening to.
They're playing a safety game. Sounds like to me, you know, like you know, I listen to all kinds of music. I can't listen to just one kind of music really all the time. I mean, I really like all kinds of music. And I say all kinds, the kinds I can understand, you know. Now, there's some of these things on MTV where I've started me a song called "They're Shooting Over or Under My Head," you know, because I don't know what the hell they're talking about, you know. I do know some of it they're talking about, and I don't know if they ought to be talking about it, you know. But I found a generation gap, in other words, is what I'm saying. But overall, I think maybe music's in a limbo right now, you know. I think that something's fixing, you know, like every 10 years or so, something really breaks loose, you know. I really believe it. I believe we're going to get our share of it.
I agree with you. I think something has to happen because it's running together. You know, it's been exposed, and it's obviously there's no way that it can go backwards. You know, we can't go back to good old country music. We can't go back. It has to go forward.
Right.
So maybe somebody will break loose and give it new energy. Now, I'll tell you something. I made up a list the other day of all the great artists that started off on an independent record label. And that goes from you started on A&M when Herb Apple first started, a small independent label. Elvis started on, the list goes on, started on Sun. Everybody that we can think of started on a small independent label. And that's where all the creativity came from. Now, all of the major labels have more or less caused the small independent labels to disappear.
That's dangerous.
So where do you think the creative part of our music is going to come from now? Because it's obviously not going to come from the big record companies because they want to be safe. They don't want anything creative. What they're saying is don't give me anything creative. So what are we going to do?
It's just like I always said, there's always one more way to do things, and that's your way. You should try it that way one time, you know. And that's where your creativity comes from. If you try, you know, like artists, you know, a great producer knows what not to do. You know, he can be great in there, but like he knows when to stay out of it, you know, and let an artist go, you know. And like so the best things I've ever come up with, I had no earthly idea what I was doing. You know, and that's really, and I'm sorry for some of the things I've learned, you know, but it's still got to come from the artist. They still have to. I still am a great believer in an artist having control. You know, like of his songs. If he has an idea, he should be able to try it, and he should do it. You know, because some of the best records I cut were with Chet Atkins. You know, and Chet always let me have. You know, let me try things, you know. And he was always good at that. You know, he liked to see people work. You know? And, you know what I mean, like you say, same way with you when he was with me.
But it's a great musician. So it's naturally we cut great records. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about how you gain creative control of producing your records. Three-piece band, and you have the greatest feel, just magic. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. Great, and you were one of the first people to start producing their own records here in Nashville.